We always are going to have somebody who knows less than us that can learn from us.
Hello and welcome back to the Career Flipper podcast. The podcast that's basically your permission slip to rewrite the rule book on work, life, and all the gloriously messy in-between bits. I'm Jenny Dempsey, your host, furniture flipper, a reluctant but grateful holder of a customer experience day job. Seriously, just please send me some snacks. And I'm also your slightly chaotic, paint splattered in my hair, are we really doing this sidekick as we just figure it all out together? Today, I am chatting with Hilary Pratt of San Diego, California, who followed her dog's lead, literally, into her brand new career chapter. Hilary runs Pack Love, a relationship-based training program for dogs and their humans, and she's also the co-founder of Wisdom of the Pack, a structured day camp designed especially for reactive dogs. She's building community, giving pups a second chance, and helping humans learn to see the world through their dog's eyes. She doesn't just teach obedience commands, though. Instead, she gets into dog psychology, helping humans and dogs understand each other, build trust, and figure out how to peacefully share a home when, let's be honest, neither species are speaking the other's language. But Hilary didn't start out in the dog world. She spent years in operations and project management while also managing the exhaustion of undiagnosed endometriosis. She was also in a paralegal role for many years, and it gave her the breathing room to heal, but it wasn't her passion. The real spark came from her own reactive pup. Trying to help her dog sent Hilary down a rabbit hole of workshops, training programs, and eventually leading into pack walks. What began as, please, just let me fix this one dog, turned into, oh wait, this could actually, be my job. So let's jump into her story and how she got from point A to point B. But fair warning, this episode might just unleash a whole new perspective. So Hilary, we're connected through a fellow career flipper, Kim, who was in season 1. She was looking to be a museum curator and then decided to go into teaching. And she flipped her career. She lives right down the street from me. And I love having career flippers in such close proximity. And then she introduced me to you. Welcome to the Career Flipper. I'm so excited to chat with you today. Hilary, tell everybody who you are, where you are, and what you're doing now.
Sure. My name's Hilary, and I have a company called Pack Love. I'm based in San Diego, and I do dog training, but it's a little bit more than that. I'm not on the obedience end of dog training. I work on relationship building between owners and dogs, educating humans, and it's all based in dog psychology, which is getting more to the root of behaviors, really understanding where, how to communicate with your dog, what their needs are, just because we're two different species, and they're living in our homes, when they should be in the wild, right? So it's we're, bringing them into our homes. They don't speak English. So just learning how to coexist together, and learn how to speak their language.
I love that. And as a dog lover myself, and my pup asleep right behind me here as I'm recording, this is just such a fun and interesting topic. And I think dog psychology is not something that you hear often. I honestly think those two words I haven't necessarily heard put together in mainstream. And so how the heck did you even end up falling into a path where you're working with dogs and building connections between them and their owners and speaking dog language? Hilary, how did this happen?
Well, over a very long period of time.
Yeah.
I have a reactive dog, and so I was searching for trainers and on Instagram, and was oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, right? She's reactive to humans, she's reactive to dogs. And so I just kind of got into this world of searching and finding what trainers really resonated with me. And so many didn't. And then I went a few years ago to my first workshop in LA, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. It was a 3-day workshop. I brought her, um, and I kind of just like left it at that. And I was like, okay, like back to life, right? And then last year I had surgery and was out of work. I was on leave for like 9 weeks. And I was still struggling with reactivity, but I was always kind of back there in the mind. I'm like, okay, like I really resonate with this, the dog psychology type of things. Like, I was like, how do I build that relationship with my dog? Like, what does that mean? And so came across a 12-week dog psychology program that was all online and signed up for that. And then I was like, this is it. Like this changed my relationship with my dog, our life together. And I was like, I need to share this with people. Like this isn't being talked about, like it's such like a small world. And it just was such a game changer. Um, and so previously, my whole career, I had been mostly in operations, in different industries. And then I was always trying to have my own business on the side. I was always hustling, trying to like find that thing that I was passionate about. And I enjoyed a lot of things, but it was never like, oh, this is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. I honestly thought it was operations because I like project management stuff. I like organization. I like helping companies kind of create really good processes and be efficient. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I got officially diagnosed with endometriosis um, probably 8 years ago. And I was in a really stressful job and it just got so bad. And that's when I had been dealing with it since I was 16, but I didn't know what it was. It just goes very undiagnosed for so long. So for 20 years, it was completely undiagnosed. And I just was getting so sick and like the stress didn't help. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Um, I was depressed. I couldn't work out. I couldn't like work. And so I had to like leave my career or what I thought was going to be my career. And I took a job as a paralegal. Um, and thankfully, like it was a very low stress job. My boss was amazing. And I was there for 6 years and had 2 surgeries during that time. My schedule was really flexible. So it was like a great
Yeah.
time and a great learning experience. And I was like, but this is not at all. I don't want to be in law. Like I just have zero desire. Like it was just like a job is what I thought
Yeah.
of it as.
Yeah.
Um, but it allowed me to heal. It allowed me to, heal my body and be in a low stress environment. Um, yeah, and so I just kind of was like always like, what is that next thing that I'm gonna do? Like I couldn't get back into operations.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept trying, but all the recruiters were like, no, you need to stay in law. Like you're a paralegal now. And I'm like, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Like I don't enjoy it. And I get like really nice offers. And I was just like always turn them down. Because I was just like, is it worth it? Like, is it worth it to like do something that I'm not passionate about, where I could just stay at my current job and be like, okay, like I have time to work on something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up having surgery, doing the course, and then kind of fell in with a group called the Bully Breed Bunch. And I went to their first group
Hmm.
meetup, and it was for all reactive dogs. And ever since then, I started leading classes for them, pack walks, and that's kind of how I kind of built up this community. Um, so over the course of like a year and a half,
Hmm.
I stayed in my corporate job and then did this and hustled on the side to like build up a network and community because I was like, this is what I'm passionate about, right? Like,
Yeah.
how can I exit?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many things here that I am hearing you say that are so incredibly important and that are so relevant to like the career flipper journeys. Like one, having that feeling inside that like you want to do something meaningful. You want to do something that is more than, whatever the regular job is. And the fact that you did that, operations work for so long, because also there's so many things about it that you like because it's very much, the organization part and the structure. And like, I hear that because I am very much like my brain thinks that way too. I am operational. I want my structure. I want my project management. Like I want those things, processes and procedures. But then, when life kind of takes those turns and with health issues and especially, I mean, endometriosis, there's so many doctors that you'll go to. I'm sure you could share on that sort of like, oh, it's just bad periods or whatever it is. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. And that's a whole other topic. But like when you have that already in play and like hearing how it was affecting your day-to-day life, and when the job was not aligned and then suddenly your health, you're just not feeling well. And it's like, you can't do anything. The idea of doing meaningful work and having this kind of like freedom just sounds so beautiful. And sometimes maybe, at least from what I've heard from others, sometimes like out of reach. And so you still continued though to like work towards it. And then the other thing, Hilary, is like having the job that allowed you to heal. And I think that this is an important part. And I actually would love to pick your brain a little bit. I have a couple questions, but like when we're thinking about changing careers, a lot of the times we think about we just got to jump in and leap in to do it. But there are financial things sometimes that come into play. Like it's the reality. Like right now, I have a full-time job as well that I'm really considering like a bridge job as I work towards these other things, but it's a great job and it really gives me that financial stability. Is it what I want to do forever? I mean, no, but like it's exactly where I need to be. And to hear you talk about taking on that role that you did for 6 years, you healed. So it's like this personal opportunity, but also professional opportunity to do what you need to do in a low stress environment with a great leader, it sounds like. And I'm curious, like when it came time to leave that and to put in that notice, what was kind of going through your head at that time? Because to leave that, I mean, it sounds very stable. To leave that stability, even though you knew it wasn't where you wanted to be, leaving stability is so scary. And so what was that like for you when you were kind of moving from that into the next thing?
Yeah, so I think for me it was I mean, all of the I look back and it's like I said, I've always wanted to have my own company and I've tried multiple businesses. And so it's like it's always been like that's my goal. I just didn't know how to do it or what I was going to do. But I look back and I see like all the things that I've learned, all the things that I've been able to accomplish.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm such a loser. Like I'm keeping going on like all these different, jobs and I don't have a career anymore. And I felt really defeated. And I might get a little emotional, but like it's like I
Yeah.
felt like really defeated, right? Like because I just felt like so like I've let myself down and I was like seeing, friends have these big careers and presidents of company, and I was like, okay, I'm 40 years old, 42 now, but like
Mhm.
I was going through all those emotions and stuff of being like, what am I doing wrong? I've been in all these different industries. Yeah, it's been like the same
Mhm.
roles, to an
Yeah.
extent, like in operations, but it's like, have I really like moved up in the companies and stuff like that? Like, um,
Yeah.
and so I think for me though, looking back as like when I was gonna make these changes was like I looked back and I was like, this is what I'm meant to have my own company. So like all these things that I've learned I can take and apply, right? They're all
Mhm.
transferable skills. And that kind of like was this aha moment for me that I was like, oh, this is really cool now. Like I'm confident in starting a business because I've done operations, I've done marketing, I've done project management, I've done bookkeeping. It's like I've done all
Yes.
these things over the years. Even like the law, like being at the law office was like an incredible opportunity because we set up businesses all the time. That's like we did estate planning and business corporate setups. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I
Yeah.
can like my own company. I can like start, do my own taxes, like all these
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also like, have these
Mm-hmm.
things in my toolbox, right?
Yes. Right.
And so I think that gave me the confidence, like when I kind of switched my mindset of being like,
Yeah.
like, what was me? Like I didn't like have a career
Yeah. Yeah.
and being like, well, that's not what I wanted ultimately, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not wasn't my goal all these years. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
even though it took a long time to get to what my passion was, I'm really thankful that it wasn't until, just this year at 42 that I like was able to be like, oh, okay, I can quit my job and having that like,
Yeah.
you know, process and having a supportive partner too. Like my
Mm-hmm.
husband is very supportive of, what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think he's like another business. Like, what's this gonna cost? And I was like, nothing actually.
That's great. Oh my gosh. No, that resonates so much. Like the skill set, the things that we learn. It's like you are exactly where you are today because of all of those skips around that you did, all of the things that you learned, all of the jobs that, burned you out, like all the things that you learned personally, professionally through all of those got you to the place you are now. And I think sometimes at least I hear from other people who are thinking about making a change and they're just like, oh, but I don't know how to start this new business. And it's like, but let's look at what you do know. Like you did this in the past. Like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Like, I mean, furniture restoration, I knew nothing about that, but I knew a lot about customer experience. I knew a lot about tech and startups. So I could use all of those skills and get real scrappy to create something from nothing. And that was really how I leaned into that too. So I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that is something that's really overlooked. And especially kind of going back to what you were mentioning with the recruiters, saying to stay in legal, like you clearly could have done, any of these other things because you had the skill set, but it was just in the way that sometimes it's perceived out there, especially by some types of recruiters, that it just is like, no, you stay in your lane. And that's, I mean, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start this podcast, because we don't have to stay in our lane. We can do other things and it's totally possible. And if someone says you can't, well, all right, just ignore that. Like, but the other thing that shows up for me, Hilary, when you were talking and sharing your story was the fact that like you had something so incredibly personal. You had a pup who was reactive and you wanted to do better and you wanted to learn with that pup. And so you just started researching these things. You went to the event and you started to kind of learn how to do this and build a community. And it sounds like it was all very organic and it really was at the root of your dog that you loved. And it sounds like it wasn't necessarily going to like supposed to be that as the business. Like maybe that had never crossed your mind at first, but then it became it because it was so personal and you saw how amazing like it was turning out and how much you could help others. And I love that because it just started with curiosity and wanting to help the dog that you love. Like, can you talk more about that experience and like really leaning into that curiosity thing and just exploring what that looked like at first and not really having any intention of it being a business, but then that moment that you knew, oh yeah, this could be a business. Like what was that like? Because a lot of us take classes, we'll explore things, we'll learn things, and we think, oh, maybe this will be it. But it's like, what if we just go into it with an open mind of like, will I enjoy this? What am I going to get out of this? Sometimes it takes off the pressure. So I'm just curious if you could talk a little bit more about what all that was like for you as you were kind of exploring it and then how it evolved.
Yeah, so great question. Like I said, like I had a reactive or I have a reactive dog and it just kind of got to the point where it was overwhelming. and I didn't know how to help her, right? Like that's not something she wants to live in either, right? Like it's just, I mean, it's ultimately stress,
Yeah.
um, and doesn't feel good to her. So I was like, there has to be like something besides just, obedience, because that's and food, management and stuff like that. Like that's not connecting us. There
Yeah.
has to be a relationship. So like I said, I went to that one workshop and then did another event. And so I think when I went into the dog psychology course, the 12-week course, we had to post videos. There was a lot of homework. There was group uh, events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I probably like, I don't know, like I had to, you had to get interviewed to like enter the course.
Okay.
And so, I had been interviewed and he was like, do you want to train dogs? I was like, no, like, I just want to help my dog,
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was like, okay, cool. Like, it's just, I was an owner coming in
Yeah.
and, probably like, I don't know, like 3 weeks in, I was like, I was so excited about it. And
Hmm.
I had been going to the bully breed bunch, their pack walks and everything like that. And I hadn't started leading anything, but I was just attending.
Yeah.
There was only a few of us at that point that kind of started this. And so I was like talking to people. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I can like help people in my group and all these things. And
Yeah.
then the guy who was running the course was like, well, why don't you just start teaching? Like, he's like, just lead pack walks, And I was like, no, I couldn't do that. He's like, no, like you have the tools, like you're being given these tools and you're going to always, I think this is great too, because it's like, we always are going to have somebody who knows less than us that can learn from us. And that's what, he gave me that great advice because he was like, you're further along than somebody else, so you can like help support them on their journey, right? Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh yeah, like there's still somebody who knows less than me being 3 weeks into a class, that haven't done the
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of started just volunteering and just being like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do some classes and like pack walks and just kind of get my feet wet. And I do not like talking in front of people. I do not like group speaking. I do not like any of that. So that like really pushed me out of my comfort zone. So I had to, do that in like groups of like 20 people. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, um, and then just, learning how to like reiterate the information to people and kind of think on the spot, like what their dog is dealing with, and things like that. And then I met one of the girls in my group on the class was in the online class was lived down the street from me. And so
Okay.
we were able to meet through that. And then she was kind of in the same boat as I was, is like, I want to train, but I'm still in my corporate job and everything. So we've become friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, we have a business together that we also started. So we're both trainers. So I
Okay.
have Love and she's Wisdom of the Dog. And then we started in February, we started Wisdom of the Pack, which is a structured day camp for reactive dogs. Because that's what we were like, we both have reactive dogs. That's what
Yeah.
we would have wanted when we were like struggling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we created a very structured day camp and so we only take 8 dogs at a time.
And that's in San Diego?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's wow. Just being able to like put your minds together, your skills together, your abilities to like learn and figure it out together, and now creating something for, I mean, reactive dogs are so special. They need a lot. That's not easy. Like, and so the fact that you create a space for them based off of, well, this is what we would have wanted, and now you made it.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible.
It's so fun.
Yeah. So every day you are working with dogs and you are helping dogs and you are helping owners with their dogs. Is that kind of how the day goes? Like, can you talk more about like, what is the day to day like now for you and how has that affected you, mentally and emotionally? Like, what is that like for you based off of like where you were before?
Yeah, I'm way more tired.
Hey, great.
I've been doing
Truth,
business
truth.
is like
Yeah.
way more tired, but like way more fulfilling too.
Yeah.
Like I'm willing to put the time in.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love it. Like being able to like work with dogs and like amazing humans who like want to support their dogs.
Yeah.
And then being, a business partner who's amazing as well. I quit my job at the end of January, so very recently.
Mhm.
So uh, we started the day camp in February.
Okay.
So basically, like what that looks like is it's a monthly commitment because we want the
Mhm.
dogs to like grow together and
Mhm.
like get to know each other, especially when dealing with reactivity.
Yeah.
It's not like the super exciting day camp things that everyone like sees. It's
Yeah.
very weird because some dogs are human reactive, some are dog reactive. So we're
Mhm.
dealing with like working on neutrality is basically like the
Mhm.
goal, being calm around other dogs so dogs don't equal excitement.
Mhm. Mm.
So yeah, so it's a month commitment, and then it's we offer it 3 days a week, so you can come 1, 2, or 3 days. And basically the structure is we have crate time, so they're all crated, and they just like learn to like coexist together, and then we kind of each week grow and kind of base it on what the dogs can handle and what they need.
Yeah.
But basically, like working on building confidence. So we have treadmills. Um, we have like special stairs. We have different things that like to build confidence, like some agility stuff.
Yeah.
Um, we work on being placed representing calm. So like we have like the raised cots. So we do a lot of things where they're all together and maybe there's 3 dogs on the treadmills and then there's like
Mhm.
2 or 3 out on place and they have to stay there and then we're walking another dog around them. And so just kind of building up what the dogs can handle.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing to see, like, I mean, some of these dogs, like, couldn't even walk next to another dog, and now they're like laying on their bed, and dogs are
Yeah.
walking around, and they're like fine.
Yeah.
Because we've created this really neutral space, and we've built trust with them, where we're like, okay, when you're on your place board,
Mhm.
like no one bothers you, like there's no
Mhm.
expectation of you, so it's just creating trust.
Yeah.
In those spaces and they know like, oh yeah, you got it. Like if there's another dog having a reaction, they're like, okay, cool, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like stories of dog flippers. Like I mean the transformations there, that's incredible. I feel like we have a lot to learn from those dogs and how they navigate change and
Mhm.
earn trust based off of who knows what traumatic experiences they've had throughout their lives that they cannot even talk about. So I feel like it's an incredible gift to have people like you and your partner to be giving those dogs a second chance at being out in the world. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That's a really beautiful thing. Hilary, a question pops in my mind. When we think about transformations and where you are now based off of where you were early in your career, burnt out, feeling sick, not being heard by doctors and feeling overworked and stressed out by what you were doing. What is something that you would say now to your past self that you have wisdom about of where you are in your career path? Like, what's something that you learned that you'd want to go back and tell your younger self?
I think probably a couple things. One is to not like overthink it. Like, I guess, I mean, when you're in your 20s and stuff like that, it's like you're like, I mean, you have way more energy.
Yeah.
um, but just to kind of like with dogs, like live in the moment and enjoy like what you're doing and just, I guess, not be scared to take chances. I
Mhm.
think we get, like you mentioned, earlier, like we get so caught in our jobs being like a safety net. And it's like, yes, of course we have to pay the bills. Of course, like we need to make money. Like there is certain stability in having working for somebody else, right? And not everyone wants to work for themselves, nor should they.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but but not being so afraid of like this like I think money scarcity mindset and things like that, that like if you're, whether you're choosing like a career path or a job, like of making sure it's something that you enjoy, and um try to have, some like be passionate about it, and I think that's like the big thing. It's like I think I did a lot of, or didn't do things because I was like, oh,
Mhm.
but it's like I'm not going to make enough money, or I'd want to, but then something would hold me back instead of just kind of going for it. And I feel like in other areas of my life, it was very much like, just go for it, like with
Yeah.
traveling, I would travel by myself, like to different countries, and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is fun. But then
Yeah.
with like, came to like money and jobs, I was always very held back, I feel like. And I feel like it was kind of, I think with the generation of my parents, it was like you just like you work hard and you stay in a job and like they promote you and like companies are loyal. And so I was always raised with that mindset of like you work hard
Yeah.
and he's going to be loyal to you. And I'm like, they're not loyal.
Yeah.
Like it's the complete opposite now. Like nobody gets promoted. Like you have to like leave to get promoted, right? And so
Yeah,
it's really hard
exactly.
for me to like wrap my head around because I'm like, but yeah, like my grandpa went from like a mailroom clerk to a president, at a company. Like, but
Yeah,
that doesn't
very
happen
different.
anymore,
No.
So it was just like, it was always like we were immigrants, like you worked hard, like all these things,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
that doesn't work. And so I was like always in that mindset of being very loyal to a company, thinking like it would be returned.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So that's a very long answer, but it was like more just like being, willing to kind of take some risks, especially early on in your career, like when you don't have, necessarily like a lot of responsibility or bills and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
also later on, I mean, what the heck? Like, if your passion switches,
Yeah.
um, I think, yeah, I think just kind of getting over that hump of being like, this is what security means, because it's like that job can go away. Like they can fire you, they can go out of business, they can do whatever they want, right? So
Yeah.
ultimately, like
Hmm.
really like we've been conditioned for the corporate world to be,
Hmm.
secure, but
Yeah.
it's not. And yeah, there's like a lot more like scary and pressure being put, when you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But I'd rather like work hard for myself or put
Yeah.
the hours in, like
Yeah.
someone else.
Right. Right. Gosh, I mean that company loyalty myth that we were told that we learned, and our parents didn't know any better. That's what they were taught, and that is what they experienced. And so but it's so true. And I feel that as well. Like in my 20s, I'm like, I really just thought, oh, the first job I get, I gotta stay. Like this is what I'm doing now. Like, and luckily, I mean, it was a great company that I worked at, and I ended up staying there for 10 years from college on. And it was just like, wow. But like if I would have been told a different message of like, oh, if you want to try something else, like you can. But like I literally put hobbies and certain other things like on the back end because I was like, well, I'm supposed to be working and I'm supposed to be working so hard. I didn't report a lot of overtime. There were a lot of things I didn't do because I thought, oh, I'm just supposed to do this and be a good employee. And then, at the end of the day, it's just business. You get laid off anyways. Like you said, you get fired anyways. The company goes out of business, like whatever it is, it's just business. And so, yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. I feel like learning that in the moment, it's like can be brutal, especially when your work is tied to your identity or your identity is tied to your work, I should say. And you put so much of your heart into it. And then it's like, oh my God, it's like a breakup. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And but once you know that truth, I feel like there's just a lot more available. And yeah, it's a lot to take in, but that wisdom that you shared is so important. And I think a lot of us listening can really resonate with that. And especially just like with dogs and the way that they live their life and like just have fun, just play with the toys and just, enjoy the things. Any other dog wisdom that you've learned along the way that you want to share that we can take away?
Have fun with your dog. I feel like sometimes like we get so caught up in like my dog has these like issues and things like that that we forget to like just enjoy being with them and like finding things that you're kind of both can have fun doing together. Sometimes we get so caught up in like the training and all the things, and it's easy to be like on this like routine and regimented, and it's like sometimes just go have fun with your dog, right? Like
Yeah.
go enjoy each other, like you like are family and you like live with this little being that you're like, let's do something fun together, find out what they're passionate about. I think that was like I adopted my other dog um the week after my surgery.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, this
All
is
right,
great.
let's do it.
I'm off work. Like, I'm in this course. Like, it's gonna be great.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And so I was like, what does he like to do? Because like I know what Lola likes to do, but I was like, what does he like to do now? Like, so it was fun to kind of do like trial and error through like a bunch of things. I was like, does he like agility? Does he like paddleboarding? Does he like, what does he enjoy?
Yeah.
Besides, just
Oh.
being. And so, yeah, so it was fun to like kind of explore and watch him kind of grow into himself and figure out like, oh, what does Bing enjoy?
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's like a big thing when you get, especially like I said, like when you're dealing with reactivity or you have a lot of like, behaviors that you're like, oh, like this is really overwhelming. Like, remember, it's still a relationship. So having fun and building that is part of the process, right? So that your dog is like, oh, you're not all just like business, right? And getting frustrated. Because it can be it's like very alienating and frustrating having a reactive dog because you're like, I can't take them anywhere. Like they can't do anything. Like find the things that they can do. Like Lola loves going to the park and like being on her long line and just kind of like being and just hanging out, and it's like just being in nature with your dog is healing.
Yeah. Find out what they like, and it's a relationship. I think that's a great reminder right there, because it is so easy to get swept up in I want my dog to be good, I want it to have friends, I want it to like all the things, but it's like there's so much more to that. And just that
maybe they don't like that either.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like not every dog wants to have friends. Like I don't need to be with everyone, right? So it's like we have this expectation that our dog like has to do all these things or be this certain way. And it's like, I think that was a huge thing for me too, that I was like, well, I just want her to like be able to go and do anything and be a coffee shop dog. And I was like, she doesn't like it. Like, she can do all that stuff, but like she doesn't enjoy it. So why am I gonna like force her to do that? So I think like instead of having the expectations for your dogs of like I want them to be able to do all these things, it's like, but what do they like? Do they like going to the farmer's market, or is it too overwhelming for them? Do they like, like putting our wants aside and recognizing like what their needs are is a huge thing, because it's like those can look very different. And kind of like really thinking through like, is this something that I want or something that they enjoy or that they actually need? And kind of remembering that as well, I think is a big thing.
Yeah. No, that's a really important reminder, and just and being present with your dog to really tune into those things. And along those same lines, like being present with ourselves and the things that we want to do as well, and living the life that we want to live. And so bringing that energy in to the relationship with the pup, it's just, it's a really cool connection piece. And Hilary, the work that you're doing with pups, it's amazing. And I want people to be able to connect with you. This conversation today was just like so great. And I'm so grateful to have you here. So thank you. And where can people find you? How can they learn more about you?
Yeah, so I'm at on Instagram. It's my handle is packlove_SD San Diego. And then for our day camp, it's Wisdom of the Pack is that. And then same thing, Packlove San Diego, or packloveca.com is my website. And then wisdomofthepack.com is our website for camp.
Thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Hilary. Thanks for hanging out with me and Hilary on this episode of the Career Flipper podcast. It means the absolute world that you're here listening in. You'll find all the ways to connect with Hilary in the show notes. And if this conversation lit even the tiniest spark or made you feel a little less like you're out here flailing at it alone, the best way to keep this energy going is to hit follow, drop a review of the show, and send this to a friend who's also mid-career plot twist. This is how we grow this messy, magical little corner of our flipping community. At the end of the day, though, here's what I want you to remember. You're not behind, you're not broken, and you are definitely not too late. Starting again is always on the table, and the step might feel terrifying. You might ugly cry through it, your voice might shake, but it could also be exactly what needs to happen in your life. So go on, take the step, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy, because really, what's the best that could happen?